Welcome to the Matt Wilkie Podcast.
Okay, this morning I want to talk about cross-border businesses. If you imagine that we're in a world where technology allows us to communicate anywhere around the globe 24 hours a day with not only simple things like emails and things, but CAD drawings and design things, 3D models, graphics design, there is an entire market there that is often untapped. But you may already have the resources and the people, but you've just never thought of it. For example, here in Spain, I've actually got a new contact relating to printing because he's not an internet guy. He doesn't take an interest in printing from customers online, etc. Everything is done locally. He's got plenty of business anyway because he's a very good printer, but quite simply, he's not expanding the business. So I'm sitting chatting with him about, well, does he want any more business? The answer is yes, but he just doesn't want the headaches relating to stuff online. So instantly, I've got access to printing machines. Now, where's this going? Well, today, which is why I'm up at 1:30, 2 o'clock in the morning, because I'm setting up a Dropbox account for some graphics coming in. There was a project that somebody brought up that they're doing in the US. Now, the same project does not work for them to transfer the stuff from the US to Europe in the mail. It's just too expensive for what the items are. But you can sell them by the thousand. So the whole point is we've come to an agreement that basically I will do the printing this side, and at the end of the day we'll just work out and see where it goes from there. In the same way, I've come up with an idea that he can make money on his side in the US with another idea relating to some vinyl cutting stuff. These things are all around us. There's lots of projects and things that we're not really tapping into. For example, one of my relatives does 3D CAD drawings and 3D tooling design from New Zealand. Now, he works globally, and I know another guy in Cebu also does the 3D design, because there's a market for it. It's a item that is sellable globally because it's a specialist thing. But also you've got to bear in mind, if you have the equipment, you've got the ability to manufacture. So it doesn't matter if you're just one of the cogs in the wheel, because maybe they're only selling to Europe, but you can say, well, hang on a minute, there's a market for that in the US. And you suddenly become the next setup, the next business, the next partner as you develop the business overseas. But what you've got is all the knowledge and experience from the people that are already operating in another country. It's a bit like being a franchisee, where you're buying into an entire enterprise that has been built normally from the ground up with all their little ways of doing everything in a formula that actually works, which means it's much easier to replicate. It's much easier to reduce your risks of monetary loss. It's much easier to make the business successful. And I thought I'd put that there today, because obviously I'm up this early doing something myself relating to one of these things. But also you've got to think there's other stuff right on your doorstep. An example of that is postcards. May sound a bit old-fashioned, but people still do send postcards. If you're on a mail route, you could do leaflet drops for a printing shop. If you're doing truck driving, maybe there's stuff that you can carry to the next town or whatever. There's always something and someone that needs something doing or moving. And this is where having a bit of an entrepreneur ability, you can actually expand what you're doing from one thing to multiple. Facebook's very useful for this sort of stuff. If you in the transport business, for example, look at the towns that you'd be interested in moving stuff through and then advertise it on Facebook. What I found with stuff going back between Spain and the UK and vice versa is the hauliers get in all the Facebook groups and say, I have a van moving from the UK to Spain on this date and will arrive in Spain on this date. And then the other way around as well. And it slowly fills up with lots and lots of people's stuff. There's nothing wrong with doing that wherever you are. This is where it gets down to generating a business for yourself. These are small businesses, but they can grow to quite large, depending what you're doing, how you're doing it, and if you can see other potential in doing something else on top of it. Thanks for listening.